Arsenal secured yet another impressive win in the Premier League, this time beating their old rivals Brighton 3-0 away at their stadium. With a lot of players obviously playing brilliant for this result to happen, Kai Havertz really stood out and got another man of the match display. But why was he so good and how has he cemented himself as the striker for the rest of the season? Let's get into it. Now, Kai Havertz is a very weird player because a lot of people would consider him as a striker for Arsenal right now, but he isn't really the person out there that's going to score the most goals or really be in the most play. He's a very useful player to help tick other people along and often make the players around him better, but obviously it does help when he gets his name on the score sheet and helps with the goals, and he did in this game. The first way he was really effective is because he was running from deep, which obviously he has become very accustomed to doing recently and has become one of the main outlets for Arsenal when a team wants to push up high with them against them. For instance, in the first half we often kept putting the ball over the top to him and a few times he actually brought it down. This helped because Brighton did not really have a lot of pressure on Jorginho and sort of left off him, letting him able to do these long passes from deep, and our centre backs obviously could as well. But Kai Havertz over the last few months has showed a lot of composure when he's getting in behind. Now, he's not really expected to just get a quick shot away. We need him to bring the ball down and help wait for other players to come and help him. This has been largely effective for Arsenal over the last few months in a quick way of getting the ball over the top if there's a lot of midfield pressure for the other team. This also means we don't need to rely on people like Odegaard to come back or have to create the play when we could go over the top of him. And Havertz was very good in this game, and he has been all season at picking the balls out when he gets one-on-one. But there's obviously a lot of players that could have done that for Arsenal if they had signed them, so why do I think Havertz is probably the most effective player right now in the squad? And it's down to the defending part as well. If you have seen Arsenal in the last few months, they're the best defensive output I think in the world, potentially Europe and definitely in England. Every single time a team breaks upon them, they have 11 players behind the ball and everyone's very aggressive running back. Now, Havertz has got a brilliant motor on him. He runs around a lot per game and is brilliant off the ball. We all know this. And considering he even played in the week comparatively to a lot of players in this game, he still ran the most a lot. And there was a moment where Brighton actually got through on the left side. Now, there's loads of reasons why their system is so good defensively and why they don't concede goals, and a lot of the players are the credit for that, but it does work with every single player on the pitch. Now, there was a moment where Brighton were breaking down the left side of the pitch going forward. Originally, Jorginho sets out in that right back spot because Arsenal's players were a bit further up, so Ben White is not there because he inverted in the middle, and Jorginho covers that area, but Jorginho pushes forward to try and get a tackle in early and doesn't actually make it. But as you can see, Havertz and Saka are running back, and Havertz actually sees this and creates the back four with the other defenders. This basically making Kai Havertz the right back in this situation. And not only is this obviously brilliant, it shows great work, and obviously it helps the defensive structure. He is very calm in his positions. He doesn't bring anyone down. He waits for his other players to help him, and Arsenal often just shift out the problems. They get 3 or 4 players around the middle to get the ball back, and the defense easily win it back. And Arsenal are also very calm in possession. If Havertz gets in near the defense, he isn't going to do something rash. He's going to pass it around and often act like that right back spot that we would get from Ben White. And this is brilliant that everyone on the team does it. And Havertz is arguably the furthest person forward in some of our moves. When we do a long goal kick, he might come a little bit deeper to try and win a header, but he will go up and push forward, usually sitting on the last man. The fact he is very aware, even when Arsenal lose the ball, to be able to get back and defend as well, shows different parts of his game, and he's definitely one of the best off the ball players in the team. And I wouldn't even really class Havertz as a striker. I would say he's more of an auxiliary forward. He kind of just walks around into positions where he is space. He is a bit of a space monster. Anytime there is anywhere, he will find it. And there was many times in the second half where Arsenal really needed to get some control on the game and keep the ball, and he kept propping up in the right wing spot. It was very interesting. He kept going there and kept making the runs. This is when Declan Rice moved into a bit more of an advanced position into the centre, and it gave that space up for there, giving the men on that right side. And a few times I think he did really good crosses. There's that one that he did to the back post to Jesus where Jesus nearly scored, and he didn't look out of place out there, and I really liked that movement of not just being in the same spot, because I think that's something Arsenal needed to do a lot this season, is change up their movements to make it less predictable, and I think now with Havertz in this role it's better at that. It also created a lot of confusion for Brighton when you got Saka coming into the centre and Declan Rice pushing up while also Jesus is coming more centrally and Havertz is going out wide. They didn't really know who to track, and when they're trying to hold Havertz to a position or into a zonal way, it's quite hard to keep up when he moves and Saka's moving, and the players often get mixed up. This is very good to break the systems of the other team. And although Havertz's goal itself was a bit of a tap-in, I do think it shows a lot of conviction in the player. In this instance, he let someone else go down the wing. We had Jorginho, who made a really good incentive run when Saka was down, and there's 3 players in there and just Havertz. He does really really well to get into the middle of them, obviously brilliant pass, and actually make it clinical. He makes that decision of when he's going to go on the inside rather than the outside just before it happens, but he's very committed to it, and he always makes a decision earlier than he needs to, and I wish some people at Jesus also did the same. And the one thing that he's been doing great all season is obviously being a dual monster. As soon as we put a goal kick up there, he's pushing the defenders, he's pressing them, he's being aggressive, he's trying to win the header. But even when the other team are on the ball, he's aggressive, trying to get it back. He always gives it his all, and he's trying to fight with it. In this game, he had 14 duels again, won 7 and lost 7. And like I've said many times before, it's not necessarily determined on how many he loses, because we have players around him who can pick up the second balls. He just needs to create as much as chaos back there, where Arsenal can try and get the ball back and put Brighton into a bit of unnerviness so they make mistakes in the future. And 7 duels won and 7 lost is actually a very good record still, and he did really well in this game. It just caused him more problems. And this became even more important the later on in the game. When we were 2-0 up, Brighton kind of pressed and tried to actually really score, so they had their centre-backs and defenders very high up, and it was often just Havertz there because we were quite penned back. Havertz was definitely our get-out ball and really helped push the defenders back and get us on the break a lot of times, putting it out to the wing, which I really enjoyed as well. And from your striker or your furthest player up the pitch in this sense, you don't see this great defensive work. He did 5 defensive actions, 3 recoveries, and made 1 headed clearance and 1 normal clearance, and obviously did 1 tackle and was very successful, and it was a brilliant tackle when Brighton were on the break down the right side. It often felt like wherever he went on the pitch, he was causing chaos but also winning duels, and mentality, that was really good, and physically he was really helping the team. And when you're in the right positions and you're doing the right things will happen for you. Like, he got his goal in the end because he made the right run, but he also made a good decision getting there, and I think he got a great assist later on as well. And I think you can say that it was not necessarily all down to him, it was mostly Trossard. He still deserves it for all the times he put himself in the right position. He is close, like the team won. We're all close together, making sure Brighton can't go through the middle. Trossard gets a little touch away, gives it to Havertz, he quickly puts the ball through to Trossard, no thinking about it. Trossard does the rest, brilliant by Trossard, but a great assist as well by Havertz. Him being there really does help, and he really is good tactically. I can see what Arteta really wants from him. And even by his heat map, he is literally everywhere on the pitch. Now, obviously, you're going to expect him to be more in the other team's box, and he was plentiful in there. But he's also picking him spots out anywhere on the pitch, left side, right side, no matter what, in the centre. And I really think that's very important to this team. And it's not even about getting Havertz on the ball. In this game, he only had 36 touches, and he only made 18 passes out of 22. Didn't really have many passes in the game, but that's not really that important. As long as he's helping the team and making other people get on the ball more, that's more important for him at least. And it didn't really matter because his XG plus X assists in this game were over 1.2, and he got a goal and an assist, so he deserved to at least get that in the sense, and actually performed output wise as well in this game, and I think he was so important to the team. There's lots of question marks on what Arsenal do in the summer. Do they buy someone to replace Havertz, because they're gonna need someone to put this amount of effort in and run back and be able to defend as well, so you're gonna have to look into it. But thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think about Havertz's performance in this game, and let me know if there's anyone else you thought was really impressive. Obviously, we've got Bayern coming up, that is massive. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and if not, I'll see you in the next one.